Today, guys, I am going to show you how I created this pop-up Z-fold block card. So if you're interested in seeing that, please do stick around. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Claudette with MsPuff Creative Corner. So first up, you're going to need 4 pieces of cardstock. And I am using the lovely Balmy Blue. The first is the base, and that is measuring 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. Then you're going to score that down at 2 inches, 4 inches, and that's going to create that Z fold. So the next block, the next segment is going to be measuring 3 1/4 by 5. You're going to score it at 1 1/2, 3 1/2, and 4 1/2. Then the next segment is going to be 2 1/2 by 4. You're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 1/2 inch, and 3 1/2. Don't score at 2 1/4 like I did here. Then the last segment is going to be 1 1/2 by 3 inches. Then you're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, and 2 1/2 inches. Next up, what we're going to do is go ahead and fold that Z fold on the score line. So you're going to go ahead, take that left side and fold it over to the right. And you're going to take your bone folder, you're going to make that crease nice and tight. Then you're going to bring it back on itself there to the left, make that mountain fold and crease that in, and there you have your Z fold. Okay, so next we're going to get some designer series paper to go on the, you're going to have 3 different section here. So the largest section, and that designer series paper is measuring 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm just adding some liquid glue to the back of my cardstock. You could use whatever adhesive you prefer. So I'm going to add that, whereas I have a little bit of the edging, equal amount of edging of the blue. So I got this measurement and this design from Lisa Curcio. So go ahead and check out her channel. Is different variations of this design. So the only difference with the measurements is I made this layer a little larger than Lisa's. So next on that top panel, we're going to go ahead and decorate that too as well. So we have a piece of white cardstock, which is measuring 1 7/8 by 4 1/8, and the designer series paper, the printed paper, is measuring 1 3/4 by 4 inches. All of my measurements are in inches. So we're going to go ahead and decorate that first little panel there on the base of our card. Just add a little bit of the liquid glue, and we're going to go ahead and add that to the first panel there on the base of our card. So I'm going to be creating like 10 of these cards because this is for my Facebook group. Not my Facebook group, but a Facebook group that I joined. And the next swap is doing a fun fold. So the next segment here is we're going to go ahead. I'm just putting the X mark and areas where we're going to be putting the glue. So this would make it easier for demonstration purposes, because as it is, it's not easy to see the score lines. So we're going to go ahead and layer up the second panel from the left. So we're going to take that first segment, and the panels that we're going to be using on that first segment, the white cardstock is 1 3/8 by 3 1/8, and the designer series paper is measuring 1 1/4 by 3 inches. And we're going to go ahead and adhere those together and go ahead and add that to the second panel from the left. I'm going to try to put these measurements in the description box down below, or you could also check Lisa Curcio's channel for this. I just put in the title that I told you the design of that is, the card, and she have a nice little printout that you could print. So on the next segment is the white cardstock is measuring 1 3/8 by 2 3/8, and the designer series paper is measuring 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. So on this second segment or second block, I scored it incorrectly. So as they would say, do as I say, not as I do. So what you want to do is score it at 2.5. I accidentally scored it at 2.25. So I couldn't figure out if I cut my panel incorrectly or I score incorrectly. So it was scored, the block was scored incorrectly. So what we're going to go ahead and just layer up the third block. So the layering pieces for the third block, the white cardstock is measuring 1 3/8 by 1 3/8, and the designer series paper is measuring 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And again, those measurements are in inches. So just as we did with the first block, we're going to go ahead and put those layers on the second segment from the left and that block of panels. So now I'm going back to that second block and taking it back to the scoring board to rescore. So it's not going to be a big deal. So because when I put the layering panel on top there, you're not going to even see the second score mark. Okay, so as before, we're going to go and add some liquid glue to that, and we're going to adhere that to the second section there from the left, and just give that a nice good press. So you could see here with that second score line is trying to buckle and give me a hard time, but you just press that down nicely and no one would know the difference. So now moving right along, we're going to bring in the base of our card and add these little sections to it. I'm going to start out with the first large block. You're going to add some glue just where I have that X on that first flap. And then what you're going to do is butt it right up to that edge, to that score line, and you're going to bring and smooth that first panel right over on top of that and adhere it down. So now this small little section with the X, add a little glue on that. You're going to fold that flap down and sway it over to the right and smooth that down. So we're going to do it 2 more times. Add a little glue to that first panel. You're going to line it up to the center right on that edge mark. And then what you're going to do is just smooth it over to the right and stick it down. Alright, getting that 1/2 inch little flap right there with the X. Add your little glue. You're going to bend it and just sway it over to the right and smooth it down. Alright, so it just takes a couple tries. After the first couple times, you'll get it. And like the most tedious part is cutting the layers out, and especially if you have to do 10 cards like I'm doing to partake in a Facebook group that I am a member of, and doing 10 swaps. So you could do anywhere between, choose anywhere between 1 or 10. 10 is the max. So I went ahead and choose 10. And it's a nice way to use up your supplies, especially if you have a lot of supplies, and it's a nice way to share and see different ideas that people have. So I can't wait to see the different designs that people would have with their fun fold cards, and I'm gonna share that with you guys as they come in. So if you're making 1 or 2, it's not too bad. And it's different, I just think it's just so cute. It's just different. It look like little steps, right? So this card could stand up on its own, and it'll be a nice display on someone's desk. So I already stamped a sentiment and made a little tag, and I'm just going to add some glue to the back, just to the edge right there, because only a portion of it is going to be stuck on. And I don't want to go past that third step. And next, I'm just going to decorate it. I'm going to add some flowers that I already stamped and cut out, because they have the die set that came with this stamp. And I'm going to pop 2 of them up on some dimensional, and then 1 I'm just going to glue flat down. So you could decorate this however you would like. And it's nice to use your little tweezer if you have one, especially when you using glue, so you don't mess up your hand and get glue all over your work. Tell me if you think this need a bow. I'm not going to add a bow to it, but let me know when I'm finished decorating if it needs a bow. So I'm going to add some of these clear little gems. It's going to be looking like some dewdrops. Some just, you could barely see it, so I'm going to add some white cardstock to see if you could see it a little better. And I'm going to take your pick tool and add those clear little gems there and that back panel. Then I'm going to get some sequins with which already have the adhesive to the back, and it's like a that peachy color. And it's just nice that just pull that peach from that last panel to add to the blue, so it won't be so much blue. And also you see that I stamped my sentiment in that same peach color as well, and the flowers are that peach color, so it kind of pulls that color up from the blue. So and then I'm going to the back of it, I'm going to add a layer of white cardstock where you could write your message on there, your greeting on there. And that layer is measuring 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I stamped some greenery and some flowers on there. So when I send them out, they could just put whatever sentiment they want on the back of it. So if you guys are new to my channel and you like what you see here today, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you could be notified when I upload my latest videos. So let me bring in all of the other cards that I created in different designer series paper. Also, if you like what you see here today, guys, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Claudette. I'll catch you guys on my next video.